Good evening, good people. We are back. It's another week. We are here. Excited to have talk ball for another week. This is the Titusville coaching show here only on PRMD. We're going to be getting into in-depth conversation tonight. I can't wait. I'm excited. We got Coach Diesel in here. I'm going to bring him up today because we got to talk about a lot of things. Coach, how you doing?
Hey, my man, doing all right.
Well, it's good to be here tonight. Good to see you. Good to
Absolutely.
see you. Good to see you. Let's dive right into it. Last week, first game of the season, we were. I don't know if we were favored to win the game. I don't know how that kind of well in some categories I think we were favored to win the game, but that's not how it worked out.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Yep.
It is what
Beat
it
goes
is.
on.
We played. That's why we played the game. But
Sure.
we got to break this down for the people. Let's go through some of the bright spots that we saw last week during last week's game. What are some bright spots that you saw from the team last week?
Some of the bright spots. First thing is resilience. Obviously, our first half, we shot ourselves in the foot down in the red zone and made a couple of mental errors that kept points off the board. But what I was proud to see them do is go, come in at halftime, regroup. And, we came out, played them. I'm trying to think of my math. I think we outplayed them in the second half, 19-6.
Yeah.
Showed some flashes that things were going well. And I'm proud that this was a team that stayed in the fight, kept battling. And never took their foot off the gas. I was really, really proud of the effort in the second half and how they continued to play every play and keep competing.
The people wanted me to ask you what was
Sure.
going through your mind. Why not kick the field goal? Why not just get out of there with
I
the
think
win?
that's an excellent question. We attempted three, we 2 extra points and a field goal, which the field goal was about extra point depth, the opening drive. We did not perform well. We missed 2 of those 3. We had the original field goal blocked. We got one through by the skin of our teeth on the other side on the north end zone.
Right.
That was very, very easily should have probably been blocked. And then we had so my theory was there at that point, running out the field goal unit was as good as a zero. The play that we had on, we had a misfire in the backfield, had a miscommunication.
Right.
Quarterback looked at the defense, switched sides with the 2-point play. And if the communication had been seen or heard, we walk in on the other side. We walk in with a 2-point conversion, and we likely win the game. And none of it's for debate. You're either the hero or you're the horse's rear end. I'll gladly take that. Now, leading up into the week of practice. So not what everybody knows, our field goal kicker was a late arriver.
Yeah.
We had not had great reps in practice with him under the gun, getting pressure. When we were going to do that, we were rained out that day. So no fault of his own, and kind of one of those things where the field goal unit didn't get a good go in practice, and it showed. And so that's the why. The why is we were 1 of 3, and the one that we got through very well could have been blocked. And my theory was we're not we're not doing real good with these extra points tonight. We've got a lot of problems, and let's go for two. And the 2-point play that was on was absolutely a walk-in in the end zone had we seen the correct call, the correct communication in the backfield. As you saw, we had one guy go one way, one guy go the other. They had a miscommunication, and if they're on the same page, we walk in the end zone. We get the 2 points, and we probably win the game. So that's a great question. That's the insider stuff that not everybody knows. I'm sure
Right.
there's a lot of people. That the coach is an idiot. He should have kicked it. Well, every coach in America, if that's a give me extra point, we're going to kick it. It wasn't no give me for us that night.
Right.
Monday, typically Monday is a day where we do obviously film and we lift and we run and we don't do a lot of on the field stuff. This past Monday, we were out in gear and we got it figured out. We've got our timing down to, that 1.1, 1.2, which makes it really difficult to block.
Right.
And we put, I think we had probably 14, 15 guys trying to block the extra point / field goal. And we did probably 20, 25 reps and we got them all through. So that now is fixed. If we get in that same situation again as where we are now as a team, we're going to take the one and we likely get out of there with a win. But at that particular moment in time, it was not a gimme. And so I went for what I thought was the gimme, and it was a gimme if we don't have the miscommunication. So that's how that ended up.
Who was some guys that really impressed you this week? I will say before I have you answer that question, I was impressed with the overall resilience of the team. I think they've grown up a lot because we have a lot of guys. 98% of the team is returning from last year. And last year, when they were down at times, they would get on themselves and get a little emotions would get the best of them. But I felt like they could win this game. I was absolutely impressed with a lot of the guys just stepping up and playing and overcoming their own emotions and disappointments in the game and just playing. Who are some guys that you were impressed with this week during the game?
I think you got to go. On the defensive side, I think DJ played a really good game. He was a problem. Second half, Waylon, our linebacker, Waylon Gardner, he ended up playing a really good game the second half. Early on, that first half. And let me digress a little bit as we talk about that. This was a really good week one opponent for us.
Yeah.
No disrespect at all to our kickoff classic opponent, but our kickoff classic opponent, I don't think we learned enough from that game. When I was at Coco last year, our kickoff classic opponent was Satellite, and we went out there and kind of had our way and did what we wanted to do. I'm not saying it was that as easy for us this year down at Sebastian River, but we once we kind of got things oiled and moving, we kind of were able to do what we wanted to do with Sebastian River. The week one opponent in Heritage was great for us. They're obviously they ended up winning. They were a good enough team to show us where we needed to improve. And by playing a team like that, we were able to discover some things that we needed to clean up, and we were able to see some things that we did pretty well. So, as I'm thinking about that, and I was talking about Waylon, that I think early in the game, we didn't play as well as we needed to play. And, we missed some tackles and stuff like that in the second half, they didn't, I think overall they did pretty, and, I'm speaking as the defense. I think overall the defense played pretty dadgum good all night. We gave up 2 gimme touchdowns with bad eye discipline, and that's one of the things that we needed to work on, and they were able to expose that. Heritage, And saw it in film, far too many times in this game. You look at pre-snap and we've got heads looking in the backfield that shouldn't have heads looking in the backfield. We need to be concerned about the guys out in front of us. And like I told these guys, I said, it's one of those things we've got to get better and fix. But there's a lot of high school football programs in the country right now that are having the same talk we're having. We got to get our eyes out of the backfield.
Right.
We got to play who we got to read our fast key reads. And you give up those two gimme touchdowns because we're not looking where we're supposed to look. And outside of those two plays, I think the defense overall played pretty well. And Waylon, Bill and Bookhart both played pretty well up on the edge too. Once they kind of figured out reading their key, hitting their mark, and understanding their job depending on what they see in the backfield, and that got a little smoother for them. Offensively, Tank had a couple big plays. Kamari ran the ball well. Our offensive line, I think, overall did pretty good most of the night. The quarterback wasn't running for his life a ton. I mean, obviously there's a play here or there that he had to do what he needed to do. I'll tell you one of the gutsiest plays that I can remember in my coaching career, and I stopped it and I showed it to the team. It was a 3rd and 10, and we had to keep the drive alive. And Will Billingsley, quarterback, pocket kind of collapses and condenses a little bit. He rolls out and decides to tuck it and turn it up, and he's hit, with 5 or 6 yards left to go before he's able to pick up the first down. And he muscled it up through 3 tacklers and showed his will to, no pun intended, but showed his willingness to make sacrifices and do what we need to do to keep the drive alive and give us a chance to win. So, there's a lot of people that I would say that I was pleased with at times, but there's a lot that we had to fix. And I think we're going to, if all goes well and we play like we should, I feel like we're able to address and fix a lot of that stuff during the week.
I do want to say before that play happened, Coach Maurice said that it was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
He said that it was going to happen, and I was actually impressed with that when it did happen. So, shout out to QB for making that play. He definitely stepped up major at times. We just didn't get the win, and that's okay. It's why you play the game.
Well, and we learned is one of the things you're talking. We lost, and I'll tell you one of the things that I was very disappointed with that night, but I don't expect to see again. We're down on the inside the 10, I believe, and we run an inside run play, and I got 2 guys continuing a block, which I appreciate blocking with all you got, but end up blocking out of bounds, and we get penalties for that. Yeah. And now we are, I believe it was 3rd and goal. I could be wrong. 3rd and goal from about the 20. That prevents us from getting a touchdown. We score. We go ahead and score there. We did everything we could do to shoot ourselves in the foot and cost us a game. But that's part of the process, and hopefully we've outgrown a lot of that.
Okay, so the next few weeks we got some good games coming up, but we can't overlook anybody. I think we have seen that on any given Friday night anything can happen. This week we play Holy Trinity. Holy Trinity is coming off a win versus Legacy from Pine Hills, and they're not somebody that you can overlook. They have a few guys. They may not have as many players as us, but they do have a few guys. Just looking at their tape and seeing what they have a few guys that can play. So what has been the message to the guys this week after last week's loss that just kind of gets us back centered so that we can focus on this week's game?
So we talk about all the time, as a team, the greatest form of discipline is self-discipline. We've got to eliminate mistakes / penalties that are easily avoidable. One that stuff like that took us out of touchdown range, if you will. We talk about doing the little things, finishing blocks, when you're out on the edge blocking, have good technique. Don't give, let's not get the holding penalties. Gang tackling, vice tackling, everybody doing their job. So I think it all comes back to, and we preach all the time about playing the one play at a time. Everybody, and I said right after the game, and I'm going to kind of circle back before we get into Holy Trinity, nobody felt worse than our running back did. Because we really didn't get a chance to even compete in overtime because we had the turnover on first down. And I told him, and I told the entire team immediately after, I said, there's probably 150, 160 plays that were played tonight, and all of them are of equal importance. And, we did things throughout the game that should have been touchdowns, shouldn't have gave up touchdowns. So there's no one guy to blame. So I always circle back to, it's the individual play. You win enough individual plays, you win a drive. You win enough drives, you win a quarter. You win enough quarters, you win a half or a game. You win enough games, you find yourself in the playoffs, but it all comes back to that individual play. So, that's the one thing we've been working on is playing the play that I'm playing right now. I'm not worried if I dropped the ball the previous play. I'm not worried if I score. I'm not thinking about if I scored a touchdown. It's play, live in the moment and play that play. So, that's really the message, is avoid self-inflicted mistakes and play your play to the best of your ability every play.
I have to apologize to the team because it was told to me that I may put unnecessary pressure on the team. And as a result, that there's a lot of people that want to beat Titusville, not because they just want to beat Titusville, but because they want to make sure that I'm not saying anything in spaces. They don't want to be the subject of a spaces and things of that nature. But I believe wholeheartedly in the Ville. I believe wholeheartedly in the team. I won't ever change my stance on the team or what I believe the team can do. But I just had to make sure I said that because there has been people who said that I think you put a little unnecessary pressure on the guys.
Us play the play, pressure or no pressure. Listen, I mean, you hope to have to be a part of a team that you get to play games that have pressure. It's no fun, going out and playing somebody that you're going to beat by 60 or somebody you're playing somebody that's going to beat you by 60. It's nice to be able to have a team that's competitive and that's going to end up in pressure games. And, that's why, that's why we're especially going forward, we play the schedule we play. Our district's tough. We got some big games coming up. Pressure goes with the territory. But pressure is one of those things that you compartmentalize, and it's only pressure if you make it pressure. And
I do want to say that everyone in our district lost on Friday night, which was very very interesting. But we all played some very strong opponents, so I won't minimize any of that.
Yeah, no, they definitely. Let me think. Galley lost to Vero, and I understand Vero's got a really good team this year. Is what they're supposed to. I'm hearing. I've been hearing they've had a good team for a long time. I remember the last time that I remember playing them was in 2020, and they had a pretty good team. We ended up beating them in overtime down there. But
that's not not an easy thing to do.
No, winning in Vero's tough, and Vero is the last couple of years, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've been kind of bounced early in the playoffs, which was not expected. I'm hearing they got some things put together down there now, though, so we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, they did.
Who else is on our district? Merritt Island lost to Cocoa.
Merritt Island lost to Cocoa.
Palm Bay
lost to Vero, and Palm Bay lost to Astronaut. And so that was the makeup of the district. But like I said, Holy Trinity, it found a way to win. They won 28-14 versus Legacy. Holy Trinity this year is a part of the independent SSAA, and they are in Class 1A over there. And so they don't play the traditional schedule, but they have found a way to put a few games on it. So they'll play teams like us and Port St. Lucie and Astronaut or a few games that they'll be playing this year. And so I don't know
Did
how
that
to
happen?
feel.
Was that this year? Did they go to that division this season?
Yeah, they went this year. I don't actually know why they went over there, but
I don't know. I'll tell you,
maybe
I'm not. First off, you never underestimate anybody. That's
right.
obviously coaching 101, right? But no, they present some problems. They've got some athletes out there, and the film that we have, to my understanding, and I guess there's another athlete that's likely going to play against us, who's really good, who's not on film. They've got some decent size. They got some pretty good size up front. Quarterback's not too bad.
Yeah.
Um, hey, there's my man, Coach Marlin. Yes, sir.
Shout out to Coach Marlon
Coach
Lewis.
Marlin, love that
Yes,
guy.
sir.
Yeah, it was a tough one, Coach. Um, no, Holy Trinity can't be overlooked. They've certainly got some weapons. They
Right.
certainly got a little size. Got a
Yeah.
quarterback that's pretty nice. So we got to play.
Definitely. Definitely. Jaden McMillan is the kid that
Yeah, that's
is not on film. He is I believe they have him ranked as a 3-star athlete right now.
yeah.
But he's one of the major pieces. He was Eddie Galley originally, but then things changed, dynamics changed, and he transferred back to Holy Trinity.
Okay.
But he's not somebody that we can minimize. We can never downplay anybody's
No, absolutely not.
contribution to the team. So
Yeah, no, he's going to be a
yeah,
player. That's right here.
yeah, and they have Rico. I can't think of Rico's last name, but Rico is the quarterback over there. He's committed
Yeah,
to Warner, and he's a really good kid as well.
he's a
They
nice
also
little quarterback.
they had another guy who's a basketball player, but he had something on film that was actually worth looking at, and he plays like wide receiver and safety. So
Okay,
I don't know. Yeah, so I've been doing a little research on them,
yeah, no,
just
they've got
checking
they've
them
got a
out.
nice little team. Not to put any pressure on them, but especially with the addition of the McMillan kid
Yeah,
coming back. I think that they certainly should make some noise in that SSA. I mean,
yeah,
obviously, those teams typically are a little less competitive per se,
right.
talent wise. Man, they've got some weaponry at Holy Trinity.
Yeah, they definitely have a few pieces.
They do.
In spaces this year, a lot of people have been saying that this is going to be the year of the coaches. That everybody, every Friday night, no matter what school you're at, no matter what team you play for, you're going to really have to coach up the kids. What do you believe that? How do you feel about that statement? And what do you think of it?
So I think that's real. I think that's a nice statement. Kind of sounds, that's one of the things we're going to find out what the coaches are made of.
Yeah,
I'm going to be the first to tell you, you can't win the Kentucky Derby riding a donkey. So you got to have some thoroughbreds. And
right,
then the other thing that I'd say is, it comes down to execution. Don't get me wrong. Coaching is very important. But it also is, you got to have some pieces and you got to have some execution. I do think, and I don't know, you've been paying attention for a long time, and not that I know a bunch about every team in our county, but it does seem that this year there seems to be more parity amongst, the masses, kind of like college football. You've had Alabama dominating, or if it wasn't them, it was Georgia. Now you're seeing teams sneak up in there that, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you might not have, you might not have seen them competing for a national title. Well, heck, they might be a playoff team this year.
right,
So, I do think there's a little bit more parity. I don't think the top is as distant as it might have been in previous years. The top 3 or 4 teams,
right.
that top 1, 2, 3, and then it's a vast drop off 4, 5, 6. I'm not, Coco's going to be Coco, and we'll see. I'm sure they're going to be fine. But I do. Based on what I've seen and talk to people, it does seem that there is more parity in the county this year than maybe in some years past.
I definitely want to go on record and say that I think that this year there hasn't been as wide of a gap as there has been in times past. So much so that yesterday, Space Coast Daily released a ranking, and I know that you don't get caught up in the rankings thing, but I
No,
felt
not
like
me.
this rankings was kind of interesting. They did not have Titusville as one of the top 8 teams in the county. They had Cocoa at number 1. They had Egali at number 2. They had Merritt Island at number 3. Heritage at number 4. Vieira at number 5. Rockledge at number 6. Merritt Island, Melbourne Central Catholic at number 7. And at number 8, they had Astronaut. I was offended. I'm going to tell you that I was offended because I just didn't understand what that. I don't know if they were actually paying attention or what they might have been doing, but I was kind of offended by that ranking. But I know you don't get caught up in that. But
No, yeah, I mean, listen, a ranking has never, ever, ever, not once in the history of the game of football, won a football game. So, I think it's fun. Guys get to have conversations. People, spaces, I'm sure gets into it.
right,
And it's great for conversation. But I think Coco rightfully so should be number 1
yeah,
until somebody beats them.
yeah,
Coco wears the crown, and they've worn it for a lot of years. And when you're 3-time state champ, 4 state championship game appearances in a row, and you win 3 of them, and until somebody knocks them off, they got to be number 1, I would think.
definitely, definitely. I tell the people all the time. I get some phone calls from guys in other areas who ask about Cocoa and ask about what Brevard County looks like as a whole. I tell them Cocoa is at the top until until they're dethroned. Unfortunately,
100%.
I think it's just a conversation piece that we talk
Yeah.
about with people
I think
saying,
it's fun.
"Oh,
I think it's a good idea for you guys to have the rankings, and you guys can get in there, and you don't know what you're talking about. No, you don't know what you're talking about. It's fun, right? It's kind of barbershop talk, right? You
yeah,
get to have a good
definitely,
time with it, and I think that's good. I mean, for the fan, I mean, listen, and I don't know, maybe it's a high. Now I was going to say 95%, but 90% of the people that are looking at rankings and taking it to heart, or even some people that are making the rankings, 90% of them can't even draw a legal offensive formation. So sometimes you gotta take it for what it's worth. And like we said, we don't get caught up into all that stuff. We worry about here go the coach talk, but we got Holy Trinity, and we're prepared for them, and we're going to see what happens.
All right. And not to overlook Holy Trinity in any way, but over the next few weeks, I think that you all will be able to learn a lot about who you are over the next few weeks, starting with Holy Trinity. But you'll follow up Holy Trinity with West Orange, going to West Orange, a
Yep.
hard fought game that was lost at the very end last year. A lot of those kids on that team, that's one of the games they have circled on their
Yep.
get back tour.
Yep.
Then you'll get Vieira to come to town, and then you'll have to go on the road 2 times with Spruce Creek, who has been coined as one of the top teams in Volusia County
Yeah.
this
Always a
year.
good team.
But Titusville did beat them last year, and
Yes, they
so
did.
that'll be a good game. And then of course Egali. Egali on the 26th of September, which will be a very big game. I think it could be one of those district defining games. I
Sure.
definitely think it can be. They did lose their quarterback, and I think I don't want to tell a lie, but I'm pretty sure he is either out for the season or a
Mhm.
significant part of the season. He had a dislocated knee on Friday night. He posted on Twitter I do know some people said 2 weeks, but I don't think a dislocated knee is something that you can come back from in 2 weeks. So with that gauntlet of a schedule, because I think if you can come out with three, maybe even 4 wins of this next few weeks, it'll be very defining of who the Titusville team is this year. How do you see yourself navigating that with this team and with this staff?
That's a good question. And I mean, I know we got Holy Trinity on the clock, but sure, you pay it. You pay a little bit of attention, right? I know the West Orange team is from what I've basically from the people that pay attention to the 7-on-7 circuit and all that, silly stuff. They've got a couple really good receivers. I think one of them's about 6'5" is what they're telling me. Got a quarterback that's nice, and the other thing is that's, I believe, a 7A school. I mean, they probably got, 4,000 plus kids in that one school. So, they're going to have a big team. They're going to have plenty of depth. So it's always a challenge to go play, these big schools just based on sheer number of people at times. They got a big pool to pull from. Spruce Creek's in the same boat, and I don't know the West Orange coaches, but I know Spruce Creek. Coach Andy Price does a great job down there. Those guys are always coached up well. We played them in my Cocoa years, and they do great stuff on defense. They've got a good offensive plan. I'm always really impressed with what they put on the field. So that was a big win for Titusville last year. And then obviously the district plays the district play, and those are your money games. You got to win them.
Right.
That's the goal. And this is kind of a weird thing because coming from Cocoa the last couple of years, our district has been so small in numbers. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 teams from the district made the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah.
Titusville played Merritt Island, and then
East Valley made it as well.
So, not that anything is a death sentence per se when you're playing those regular season games, but it sure makes your life a lot better if you win them. And,
right.
For rankings and seeding purposes, come the brackets for the playoff.
And not for nothing, I do believe that Merritt Island showed very well that they can be a contender in this county this year. I don't think people expect them to have played Cocoa as tough as I think they played on Friday night. Took them into 2 overtimes. They did get Cocoa to force a couple turnovers, throw a couple of interceptions and things of that nature. So I was impressed with what they were doing. But right now, LaVille has that one up on that game. Two wins last year. Coach Holmes was able to lead the Terriers last year. So shout out to Coach Holmes and that team from last year for being able to beat not only beat them once, but to win twice. I think that's impressive.
That's tough. It's hard to beat anybody once. It's really hard to beat somebody twice. No, that's tough to do, no doubt. No, that was
and they went into the Old Dome and got a win, which is not
it's tough to play easy. There. You always used to hear the old timers talk, especially when Coach Oden was still coaching. You hear the old guys. Man, you get off the bus at Merritt Island, you're already down 14 points before you get off the bus.
Right. All right. Let's talk about this. If there was somebody who you had to give player of the game to last week, unfortunately we lost, but that's not something we can hang our hat on. But if there was a player of the game last week, who would you give that player of the game honor to from the team last week?
I think people would think, man, that's crazy, but I'm Kamari Jackson. Kamari gets my player of the game. He gave us a spark when we needed a spark. He got the ball going on the ground. He competed every single play, takes no plays off. Unfortunately, there in the end, we had the fumble. But Kamari Jackson has got the heart of a lion, and he's a competitor, and he earned the most valuable player, if you will, of that week. I mean, he got us going when we needed to get going. And without him doing what he was able to do, we were rolling slow. And I would say Kamari, it gets my right off the top of my head vote.
Yeah, Kamari definitely played well. I told him at the end of the game after that fumble that you got to have short term memory loss in these
Yep.
type of situations. You can't get caught up on
Nope.
the mistake you made. I believe wholeheartedly that he's one of the leaders of the team. I think he's going to step up very big when it's time this season.
Yep.
I think he has shown leadership. Even last week, I think he showed leadership and just making sure that he was not stoppable. He was making sure he was
He did a good
unstoppable.
job. He sure
So
did.
he did a good job. Shout out to Kamari Jackson. Shout out to all of the Terriers and Coach. Thank you for coming through as
Appreciate it. Yep.
always. We'll be there live and direct on Friday. I think it's
Well,
going to
if
be a
all
good game.
goes hopefully well, we'll be back same time next week, and we'll be in a little better mood.
Yes, sir. I think we'll have a little something to brag about next week, Coach
Hey,
Justin
there's
from
my man, Coach
Coach.
Bruce. I
Yeah,
love
Coach.
that guy. Coach Bruce is the man.
Shout out to Coach Bruce. But I think next week it'll be a better conversation. I didn't expect us to have been talking about losses so soon, but
Shouldn't have.
but
We did everything in our power to give that thing up, and it happened.
yeah. So thank you again, Coach. I'll be talking to you.
Yes, sir. I
Yes,
appreciate you.
yes, sir. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So another week, like I said, the game did not work out the way I thought it would. I was kind of upset a little bit. I was not. There was nothing we could do, but we lost. It's why you play the game. It's why the game happens. It's football. There's nothing to be upset about. But it is what it is. Also, we got to make sure that we give a shout out. We give a shout out to our Little League Terriers. This week's player of the game is none other than Jordan Stevens. Jordan Stevens had 2 touchdowns on Saturday, played a really big game for the Terriers as they upset the Firehawks on Saturday. So please tag Jordan Stevens' parents in the comment section and let them know that he is the PRMD player of the game this week for the Little League Terriers. We make sure that we give shout outs to all of the Little League Terriers and making sure that we spotlight them as much as possible. We are currently waiting on our plaques to come in. So once we receive the plaques, we'll be making sure that we give out the plaques to the players that have won player of the game. So until then, we'll just give a personal shout out to Jordan Stevens on the 10U Terriers for winning player of the game and player of the week last week. This week we got Holy Trinity. I'm excited about it. You heard Coach talk about it. I think it'll be a good game. I think it's going to be a big game. I think we are going to show up. I think that we have learned a lot. I think we had some on the job training. A lot of times, people like to put a lot of unnecessary pressure on Titusville. I think people have kind of said, myself included, have kind of said, "Oh, they'll do this, they'll do that, they'll do this." I think they work harder, being underrated. When they're really underrated, I think they step up in a major way. So shout out to Titusville, man. Shout out to the team. Tomorrow, our JV team will be playing their first game. They'll be playing in a round robin jamboree of sorts with with Melbourne, and they'll also be playing satellite. And so, shout out to Coach Archie and those guys. I think that game will be really interesting. Hopefully, it'll be shown on Brevard Sports Network. I'm not absolutely sure on that yet, but I want to thank y'all for tuning in. And I also want to tell y'all that we are still looking for sponsors. So if you know a small business that would like to sponsor the Titusville Coaching Show, we have a bunch of different packages into which you can take part in. I think it'll be really good and will really help spotlight not only your business, but spotlight our Titusville kids. So it's another week. This is PRMD. This is Titusville's Brevard County's only coaching show. I make sure I put emphasis on that because it is Brevard County's only coaching show. We're doing something. I want to thank Coach Diesel for consenting to come and be on every week because he could absolutely be doing something else. But we are giving spotlight to the team, spotlight to the coaching staff. Next week, we will start interviewing some of our coaches. We will start off with Coach Matt's brother. We'll be talking to Coach Scott Diesel next week, and we'll have him on. And then we're going to have our defensive coordinator on, Coach TJ. So we'll be going down the whole staff, making sure that we introduce you all to all of our coaches and a few of our players. We can't have every player on, unfortunately, but we can have some of the guys on, and we're going to put as many of the guys in front of you as possible. So we thank y'all for tuning in, and we hope that you come back and next week. Please like, please share. Please like all things PRMD and make sure that you're keeping up with all of the content that we're putting out. And we hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in.